Welcome back to A to Z here on Locked On Sports Atlanta, free on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. Search Locked On Sports Atlanta. This segment of our show brought to you by Athletic Greens. Want to remind you guys to give us a follow on Twitter at Locked On ATL. Of course, I'm at Mark Zinno, MarkZinno. Make sure you check out all the great shows here on the Locked On Sports Atlanta network. This is A to Z. Of course, you have Hitting Hard with John Chuckery, ATL Day Ones with Jarvis Davis and Tanitra Batiste. Our Braves postcast after every Braves game, so make sure you check those out, especially after these huge 3 games against the New York Mets. Don't forget about Locked On Hawks and Locked On Falcons, all right here on the Locked On Sports Atlanta network. Over 2,000 subscribers here, guys, in just 2 short months that we've been doing this, or 2.5 short months. Actually, it was about 2 short months when we hit 2,000. But you guys have been great out there. Thanks so much for the support. Continue to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like, thumbs up, share all the content that you see on social media. We certainly appreciate the support and the love, and tell a friend that this is the best place for some great content on all of your Atlanta sports news. Okay, back to the Braves and the New York Mets. 3-game series tonight. Max Scherzer versus Max Fried. It's getting maxed out. Yes, I'm being dad joke corny, but who cares? How did the Braves get here? And how they got here, I think, is really boils down to 5 specific things. Max Fried being in the rotation. And Max Fried is the kind of starter that when you give the ball to every 5th day, keeps you afloat, right? I mean, he is the guy that when you're not playing well, every 5th day gives you a chance to win and separates what would be a 3 or 4 game losing streak to a just 1 or 2 game losing streak, right? Hence why the Braves for the first 2 months of the season didn't win more than 2, but didn't lose more than 2 in a row. It's because of Max Fried, right? It's that sort of anchor. And I use Justin Verlander as a similar comparison. He's 11-0 this year. If he is just mediocre, I shouldn't even say mediocre, like above average at 7-4, and the numbers are a little bit different, are the Astros that far in first place? No. Do they feel like they're that powerful of a team? No. They feel much more back to earth. And I know it's only 4 games from a record standpoint, but it's more than that. It really is. If he had just pitched above average as opposed to 11-0, sort of fantastic, that's a different team. And because Max Fried, we're going to get to him in a minute, because Max Fried has been so good, that is why they were able to sustain staying around 500 when they were struggling offensively. Kyle Wright is another reason. He was actually better than Max Fried for the first month of the year. Statistically, he was. But he also gave a little extra added punch. When Morton was struggling, Anderson was struggling, and they had no idea who the 5th starter was, it was those 2 keeping the rotation afloat. And that's super important because when you are struggling, you need to have guys like that who can really get you out of some bad spots during the whole sort of run or average run that you were on. Next, I'll put like 2 of them together, and that was calling up Michael Harris and putting Spencer Strider in the rotation. These 2 guys are going to finish 1-2 in Rookie of the Year. Book it now. Go make a bet. If you haven't done it already, Spencer Strider was plus 500, 5-1 before he had a 12 strikeout performance. You probably missed the best value on it. So I would go with Harris from a value standpoint. We'll talk gambling later. But that said, these 2 they're going to finish 1-2. They have made such an incredible impact in so many different ways. And you can see it when Michael Harris makes a big catch, or Spencer Strider gets on the mound and fans like 6 in a row, or Harris hits a home run. Like, there's just such an emotional lift for this team that it is nearly impossible to quantify. They have just meant so much. And maybe the biggest piece that I'll tell you here in a second, but first a word from our friends at Athletic Greens. Do you guys want better gut health? Because gut health is so important to making you a healthier, happier person. And I don't know if you guys like to take multivitamins or pills or whatever it may be, but Athletic Greens cuts through all that. It's lifestyle friendly. Whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, gluten-free, whatever it is, it contains less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals or artificial anything, while still tasting good. It supports better sleep quality, recovery, mental clarity, and alertness. And it's the one thing that's the best thing about the Athletic Greens is the use of the best products based on the latest science with constant product iterations and third-party testing. It costs less than $3 a day. So you're investing in your health, and it's cheaper than your cold brew habit or cheaper than your different supplement that you're taking, your multivitamin. You're investing in an all-in-one nutritional insurance. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/MLB Network. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/MLB Network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. All right, back to the Braves here on A to Z. So the biggest piece is got to be Dansby Swanson. And I know last week I was being crazy GM and proposing the idea of trading him. And I'm still not opposed to it in a philosophical sense. But that said, what he has done so far this year, and while he's not actually going to get an MVP vote per se, he's the best statistical shortstop in baseball this year from an offensive standpoint. I mean, you just look across the board. He has absolutely been everything that this team has needed when they needed it. He's played great defense. He has shown that he can come up with clutch hitting when you need it. He has done everything you want him to do about being a leader on this team, especially since, this has been a team that has kind of been a void of leadership since Freddie Freeman left. And I don't even like to say it is a void of leadership, but it's one of those things where when you look at what, Dansby is expected of and what is expected of him, I think it's very important to acknowledge the fact that he has been the rock for this team going forward. So I think he is a huge, huge part of it. Now, the other thing I want to ensure is that we discuss the gambling aspect of this whole thing, because that's very important to me. The Braves are installed as favorites in this series, and at least favorites in game one. And actually, all this stuff is trending to the over, which is surprising to me, given the starters that are on the mound. So I have 2 bets placed. One of them, under 3.5 runs in the first 5, because I believe that Scherzer and Fried will start out strong, but I think there'll be a ton of emotional and a ton of physical energy exerted in what's going to feel like a playoff series. But I think they'll be sharp early, and then once you go to the bullpens, you'll start to see things change. And then, of course, I'm taking my typical under a half run in the first inning. This is one of these prop bets that's out there that you have to get on early. I got on it last night. Between Scherzer and Fried, there's no reason to believe that anybody should be giving up a run in the first inning in this contest. All right, coming up next, we will hand out a shovel of wisdom. And one NFL team leaked some information out there that reflects more poorly on them than it does the information they were trying to pass out. That's next right here on A to Z on Locked On Sports Atlanta, free on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. Search Locked On Sports Atlanta.